Mark, welcome to the webinar. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
You've been around on YouTube channel UK spread betting for forever. I remember myself, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I was trying to understand a little bit more in depth what leverage is. And I came across to your channel and I learned from you what was leverage and how it's calculated and the relationship with margin. So I've been learning from you a few times. So, I mean, you are, one of the few reliable YouTubers out there. So I really appreciate the work you do out there. Your work is so valuable. So thanks for
appreciate that. Thank you for those kind words. And has it really been for 4 years? I can't believe it. There must have been. There's a lot of videos out there, but yeah, appreciate that.
You used to do those. You used to use those, the papers to draw on them.
Yeah. Back in, I remember. I think I've done a full circle with my haircut as well. It was longer. It went short. It went really short, and now I'm kind of getting a bit longer again. I'm feeling a bit more of a length. So,
very, very pleased to have you. So, from now, just take over, introduce yourself, and I'll be here, and I'll be in the background. I'll be back.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. I'll share my screen because I've got one introductory slide because I know some of you don't know who I am. So let me get started with a quick screen share. I'll share that. I'll put that on slideshow. I'll move your face over there in that screen and we should be good to go. I don't know what, every different country and jurisdiction has its own rules around risk and stuff. I just like to say, listen, if you're new to trading, just understand that it's high risk, right? Most of you here, I guess, know this by now, but I'd hate to see people coming into trading thinking, oh, this is so easy, I'm going to make money, and then they don't understand there's a risk. There's good rewards, sure, but there's risk as well. So just make sure you understand that this is a serious game we're playing ultimately, and we're trying to be the best we can. So today, what time are we on? Yeah, so we're at 2:00. So you guys are probably watching the CPI number. Markets all over the place. Nasdaq's back to where it was, a little bit higher. I know you guys are trading forex, but yeah, we're going to 30, 40 minutes or so. I want to talk to you about something different today. And by the way, I hope you can hear me. Some genius has just started construction in the office above, just in time. But this microphone's pretty good, I hope. So hopefully you can guys hear me. Any questions? Fire them in the Q&A section or in the chat. I'll pick them up at the end. Definitely have time for that, so we can look through that. So today I want to talk about 5 steps to building unwavering trader confidence. So, when I spoke to Sol, say, okay, what I want to talk about? I'd like to kind of talk and share something of value, something that's going to be really useful to you guys. And strategies are one thing, and sure, strategies are super valuable. Obviously, you have to have an edge to be able to trade. But I think that confidence is something that's so overlooked as a trader and something that's so important as a trader. So we're going to dig into it and give you 5 steps that I think are really, really valuable to help you build the confidence. Some of the traps, some of this and some of the other things. So I'm really going to give you as much value as I possibly can in the next 30 to 40 minutes. So I appreciate your attention, especially when there's a big data number just sort of sitting there and chugging away in the background. I know you guys have all got one eye on the screen. Little quote from Mike Tyson there. I think he probably nicked it from Muhammad Ali. But anyway, you've got to believe you're a champion before you become one. I think that's a big ethos to have. Okay, so a very brief overview of who I am. I don't want to waste too much time on this, but I kind of want to show you my journey. Started trading in 2001. I was trading mining shares on the London Stock Exchange. There was a real kind of opportunity at some point as well when we switched from, I don't know if many guys are from the UK, but years ago we switched from this thing called CQ to sets. Ultimately, it was just a fully automated trading venue rather than this market maker-led model. And that was a real kind of opportunity for short-term traders to take advantage of it. So I guess without going too much depth about that, the point was edge can show up anywhere. And that opportunity really kind of, gave me a good kickstart in my trading career. I changed edge as conditions change. I became very much focused on reading the tape, supply and demand, and as a kind of price action trader. When then we shifted to that fully automated type of trading on the London Stock Exchange, some of these algorithms back then were just so primitive that you could kind of spot them a lot easier. Obviously now algorithms are smart. But the concept of supply demand, of reading the tape, of kind of understanding these things still applied. And I kind of shifted my edge as that sort of edge diminished over time. I started putting on videos on YouTube literally to stop me over trading. That was the thing. I was like, right, I've got a position on, don't want to touch it. What can I do? There's so many trading books you can read. You can see I've got a few behind me there. There's so many trading books you can read, so much journaling you can do. I thought, okay, I want to do some videos. And I put them on YouTube, and here we are. I think we've got 370,000 subscribers later. Some of you guys like what I have to say, so I'll share what I think is of value. And I'm always honest with what I'm talking about. I don't sugarcoat things. This is a difficult game. It's a tricky game. It can be very, very rewarding if you get it right. It can be super challenging. It can be the hardest thing you'll ever do. But I think that with guidance and with structure, you can kind of make some progress. Quickly, I'm not promoting myself, but I created a Traders Mastermind community. There's also a podcast. You can search for that. At the moment, I'm building a new piece of software called Trading Plan Pro, which I'm absolutely super excited about. It's going to have discipline, kind of streaks. It's going to be, you best have your trading plans in there, strategies in there. That's really going to help me and building it for me. And I'm also going to be offering it out to people as well. So that's me. So that's me in a nutshell, very, very quickly, if you haven't seen me already. Okay, so I'm on the right slide. Okay, so building confidence. So most people think that it's like chicken and egg. Have you heard of that phrase? I can't get any confidence until I make money in trading, and I can't make money until I have confidence. You're like, well, what do I do? I need to make money first, but I can't make money because I'm not confident, so I can't move forward. And traders, especially early traders in the early start of their career, think that profits equal confidence, and that's I believe that's wrong. So let me tell you why. Let me ask you a question, right? If you never had a green year, right, but this year you made 700 grand, would you feel good? And I'm pretty sure that everyone say, yeah, absolutely. 700 grand would be a very nice year if I'd never had a green year. Now, if there's maybe some traders watching, listening and tuning into this who have had 7-figure years and they might be upset with 700 grand. But I imagine if you had never had a green year, going from nothing to 700 would make you feel pretty good, right? Now, let me change the question slightly. What if you made that £700,000, but you'd also broken all your risk rules regularly, had a few close calls with a blow up, and just traded sloppily? Would you feel good and full of confidence? You wouldn't, right? You'd be like, yeah, I made some good money, and I wasn't making money before, now I am. But, I really got close to the wire. I nearly blew up an account. I got away with this. I did this and did that. You wouldn't feel full of confidence, right? So by that definition, profits do not equal confidence. Confidence comes from a separate area in trading. It's your actions, your process, and the standards you operate from. Now, sure, I'm not going to stand here and say that profits don't play a certain role. Of course they do. You have some experience, you have a kind of few years behind your belt, you have some profits, you go, hey, listen, I can do it. I've proven I can do it. But it's not the core, right? It's not the core. It's not necessary to move forward. And so we need to shake this belief of like, I must get profits, get confidence. It comes from this different area, and it's something you can control. That's the good news, right? You can control your actions, you can control your process, you can control the standards that you operate from. So with that in mind, let me share with you this 5-step system that I've got for kind of creating and cultivating confidence. And it's perfect if you are doing, an online prop firm challenge, because you are in that level where you're trying to get to a point where you're funded. You're trying to get to a certain goal. And by definition, you're starting from zero effectively to build that account, to pass it, and then you're funded and you're trying to move on. You're trying to keep within the parameters. So it's important to have that level of confidence regardless of where your P&L is. I think that when we stake our identity as a trader on our P&L, that's a mistake. We need to stake our identity on our actions, process, and standards. Okay, so let's get straight into step number 1. Now, before I carry on with this, some of you are going to be like, this is really, really golden. I like the idea of this. Some of you are going to be like, oh, this doesn't, I'm not so sure, but just trust me on it and give it a little bit of time and think about it and think about what I'm saying here and really, because at the end of the day, right, look at it this way. I remember years ago looking at myself in the mirror and going, I have to change my behavior. yeah, whatever year, 2002, 2003, something like that, first couple of years in, I need to change my behavior to get what I want from this market. I have to make a change, and I'm prepared to do anything to, within reason, of course. I'm not talking about insider trading or anything like this. I'm prepared to do anything internally to move forward, anything kind of from a mindset perspective. Because I knew that was my mindset, my discipline that was holding me back. So step number one is clarity. You need to become crystal clear on your vision of why you are trading. Crystal clear. You want to know, what are you trying to achieve in your trading? What's the goal for you? What are you doing it for? You doing it for money, freedom? Do you want to change your career ultimately? Most traders come in and go, I want to make some money. I want to make some cash. That's not clear enough. You must have a crystal clear vision. You'll see why this fits into where we're headed in a moment. A crystal clear vision is I want to make £500,000 by 2024. I want to make 2 million by 2028. I want to pass my funded program by the end of 3 months. I want whatever it may be. There's a specificity to that that's required. It's not, I want to do this, I want to do that, because you'll end up just not treating it with the respect it deserves. So being crystal clear on the vision of what you're trying to create. And you can go and dream as big as you like and say, hey, 10 years time, I want to be that. That's out of reach now, but let me then reverse engineer it. First step is to become funded. Next step is to get the first payout, then this, then that, then the other. Whatever the steps may be, we don't have to go crazy and start to analyze it yet. Having that clarity on where we're headed is so important, because here's something that many traders do, right? And you think of a big oil tanker kind of running, churning away through the sea. Put a little bit of rudder on. I'm not a nautical guy, but imagine you put a bit of rudder on, or whatever the terminology is, and it slowly kind of veers round to the right, doesn't it? Rears round, what's the terminology? Starboard, I think it's right. Someone can correct me. You kind of veer around. It takes a lot of time. You still think like you're going ahead, and you kind of think, yeah, I'm doing it right. And time goes by and fuel gets burnt. And imagine that in trading. It's like time goes by and equity and stuff and all these challenges. But actually, if you keep that rudder on to the right or to starboard, eventually you're going to have a big circle, and it's going to take you all the way back to where you were. You've done a lot of energy, you've burnt a lot of fuel, spent a lot of time, but you're exactly back to where you were. Think of yourself in your trading. How many times, I don't know how many experience you guys have got, but you've had some experience and listen to this, you find yourself going through the same process again and again and again and again. You feel like you're moving forward, but then you look at where you are, you go, I've just gone round in a circle. I have done absolutely nothing. So you need to lock your destination into your sat nav, into your satellite navigation. You go, right, I'm headed there. That's my vision. That's where I'm going. Chug, drive. Now, how long it takes me to get there, I do not know, but I'm heading that way. Just like if you were setting a heading on a plane, it's like you were setting a heading, in a boat. I did my private pilot's license a while ago. And one of the things, you get taught is, listen, set your heading and just keep checking you're on that heading, because it's very, very easy to drift. A lot like life and trading, right? It's very easy to drift. You feel like you're getting in the right direction. You're distracted elsewhere. Your concentration's elsewhere, and you're not moving in the direction you want to direct move to. So be crystal clear on your vision. So important. So important. Step 2, visualize. That's the UK spelling. For you Americans, it's going to have a Z in there, or a Z. Visualize. Okay, so what does that person look like? And this is important too, okay? And you might be, this is the point where I might lose a few of you, like, oh man, this is a bit of a stretch, but just listen to it and just see what you think. So you've got that crystal clear vision of where you want to go. And maybe you sit down and write, no distractions, no market, no this, no that. Just get a pen and paper and write, get that vision. Then you're going, okay, what does that person look like? And I mean, physically, imagine them sitting, he or she, whatever you're looking at, on the desk, sitting in front of the trading screens. What does he look like? How does he act? How does she act? What trading habits they possess? Just imagine them there, sitting there, managing the account size that you have got in your vision, or whatever that is. How do they behave? What does their pre-market prep and journaling routine look like? How do they respond when they break rules? Are they so angry? Are they not bothering with their journaling routine? Are they not bothering pre-market prep? Are they breaking rules? Of course they're not. You know they're not. You know that they are adhering to the plan and the structure they've placed in for themselves. They have that pre-market prep. They're trading, they're taking a loss, they're shrugging it off, they're moving on, they're adding to winners, doing all the stuff that you know is right. They're cool, they're calm, they're relaxed. They're sitting there. You can see how they kind of interact with the market. And imagine, just picture it for a second. Just take a second to look and see how that person is sitting, how they're holding themselves, all that type of stuff. That's your future self. So we've got the crystal clear vision of where you're headed. You've now got the visual image of that trader. And you might, and you know, this might sound like, oh, woo woo and all this kind of stuff, but honestly, it takes no time to do. It's free. And what have you got to lose by doing this type of stuff? If it changes how you behave in the markets and gives you more confidence and more structure and gives you more discipline and a better mindset and all this other stuff, then the ROI is going to be huge, right? So think about what that person looks like. I've always got that locked in. Just imagining that person sitting there in the desk, what they're doing, how they're acting. And when you come into certain scenarios, you've got the kind of North Star in your mind. All right. So step 3 is to build a plan. So we've got that crystal clear vision of where we're headed. That's locked in, done. We can see the behavior that we need to do to get to that point, because we've visualized and we've let ourselves kind of think and we've let ourselves dream and we've let all that kind of stuff and done all that kind of thing. Now we need to kind of lock it in. Now we need to go, right, I know where I'm headed. I kind of know what, how that person acts and how he does this and how he or she does that. I need to come up with an actual plan of action to turn myself into that person and put myself on that heading. So we need to construct a plan, or you need to construct a plan that encompasses all of the actions that you can see that person doing. These are just kind of a handful of things, right? You know yourself how to act in a professional manner. You know yourself how to take this trading seriously. You know the actions you're taking, which aren't really going to be conducive to the long-term vision. They're not going to lock you into where you want to go. You know, waking up, checking the market on your phone, trading off that's probably not the way to do it, right? You don't imagine that serious trader of yours in the future doing that. So what time are you going to come to the screens? How are you going to prepare? You know, what your rule's going to be, what your setup's going to be, journaling process, what's your plan look like? All those things that you had in your mind, you need to put them now down into action, because you're trying to create that person. Yeah, this is the way we're kind of shifting our thinking from, I want to make money, I want to make money, I want to make money. Like, I want to create the person who I know has the ability to make the money that I want, or whatever that goal may be. So we're taking it slightly differently. Rather than saying, oh, imagine this, do that, we're going, okay, no, I need to develop the habits that are going to make me into the trader that I know is going to hit the goal, or has the best possible chance of hitting the goal that I've set for myself. So all these things that are worth doing. I'm not saying you have to spend hours on your prep. I'm not saying you have to spend hours on your journaling. Absolutely not. You know, many people spend very, very short amount of time just journaling the most important trades, the 80-20 rule, journal the most important trades, the worst trades, the best trades. That's fine. You don't have to have reams of rules either, just some basic risk rules and structure. Your setups, again, you have to be super complicated, have as simple as complicated as you like, but it's creating and molding yourself into that trader, because this is how we're building confidence. We're building confidence, and we'll see in a moment, because we are creating the habits that we know that the professional trader in our mind has. And so when we do that, all of a sudden, confidence starts to build. The confidence starts to build. So we're putting these things into action. All right, so the next step 4, is alignment. And this is the important part. It's okay to sit here, and it's okay to come up with a plan, and it's okay to sit and visualize. And by the way, you know, I do this regularly, right? I'm not just saying this. I do this regularly. You know, I know where I'm headed. And very often after I've been to the gym, whatever, I'll sit in the sauna, like a sauna after a gym session, and I've got that 15, 20 minutes. And, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm getting it crystal clear in my mind. So my mind knows exactly what I want to do. And the point is that when we are in front of the screen and we're about to break a rule, we're about to dive into a trade that we know we're a bit late, we're about to pull the trigger a bit early, we're about to break a risk rule, subconscious brain goes, whoa, just stop a second. That is not the trader you're becoming. You've locked this in so firm into my brain that I'm going to pause you. And that's what we're trying to do, because, you know, breaking the rules is just so detrimental to our performance, right? We know this. You know this. You know that breaking the rules and screwing up your discipline is not serving you. And you know, probably, that if you fix that, your P&L would be a different scenario. You know, maybe you'd be at a funded status already. Maybe you'd have a couple of withdrawals. Maybe you'd be trading 7-figure account. Who knows? Who knows? So this is now where this separates, say, the men from the boys, the women from the girls, however you want to say it. This is the tough part, right? The easy part was that. It's easy to dream about where you're going to go. It's easy to lock in the head in. Pretty easy to kind of come up with a plan and sit down and work out all the things and the processes and habits that you want to create. So now you've got to act in alignment. This is the tough part. Sticking to that program, sticking to the rules. Now, I've highlighted this because this is a really key part. The test is doing what you said you are going to do, even when you don't want to. What I mean by this. So when you're in front of the screens and you have the urge to do something that's out of alignment with your future trader self, remember, you imagine them, you had them there, you know how they're acting. When you suddenly see a price spike, something's going on, and you've got that impulse and urge to trade it, I want to get involved in it, but you know it's not part of your setup. Just breaks, come on, hang on. How does that future trader self react to that price spike? Probably just goes, okay, it's information. What information do I get from that? Is it a rejection of a key level? Is it a continuation? Is it momentum ignition? What is that? Is it something valuable or is it just noise? Let me note it down. Let me think about it. How does it play into the structure of my feel and bias I've got for the market already? Does that affect how I'm going to trade the next deal? Do I increase the size, decrease it? That's the information they'll gather from that. Not, oh, I'm going to miss out. I need to get in. So again, you're kind of acting in alignment. That's tough. It's tough to do that. But the more you embed and ingrain in your mind how you want to behave and act and the habits you want, the easier it's going to be to do this. So example, right? Let's say you're late to the screen. You've got a valid excuse. Something happens, your family, blah, blah, blah. You've got a valid excuse for being late. And it happens, okay? Happens. You come to the screen and you convince yourself that, you know what, I'll just skip my pre-market prep. Bell's going to go, let's get ready, get your trading gear on, get your mouse going right. And you skip your pre-market prep because you think you've got a valid excuse. That's when you go, stop. This is the test. This is the separator between me doing circles and circles and circles and circles and circles and going nowhere and actually breaking out and becoming the trader that I've visualized and I've had in your mind forever. That's the difference. That's the test. These little tests you have every day are little tests to say, are you going to act in alignment with the future trader self? Are you going to act in alignment, or are you just going to default back to the mob, the crowd, everyone else who just messes around and just trades around with no real objective, and they're the ones that are in the ocean just going back and round in circles for time and time and time again. You're only the one that's breaking out, the one who's moving to the heading. Be strict with yourself. Does the vision of the trader you want to be act in that way? And you know this, your subconscious knows this. So every time you are tested in the trading day, you're sitting in front of your screens and you want to break a rule, you want to not do your journaling, you want to not do your pre-market prep, you want to do something that's out of alignment, that's really removing from your confidence, right? This is why a lot of traders say, I don't feel very confident. It's got nothing to back it up with, because they don't trust themselves to be safe in the market. They don't even trust themselves to stick to the risk rules. But every time you're tested like this and you pass the test, you're building confidence. You're making a deposit in the confidence bank. You're going, hey, listen, I do stick to the rules. I do what I say I'm going to do. I've got a big streak now of this pre-market prep that I'm done. I'm doing my journaling. I'm sticking to my rules. All these things, and that's in alignment with the trader that I'm trying to become. That's what builds confidence. That's where you go at the end of the week. Hey, forget about P&L. Doesn't matter. I'm not measuring my P&L at the moment. I'm trying to get to this status and level. And P&L's nice. Sure, it's nice to have a green week, but more important is to stick to your rules, to stick to your process, to build the habits that you know are going to cultivate P&L in the medium and long term. Not today, not tomorrow. There's always a lag, guys. There's always a lag. You kind of, what your habits are doing now, 30 days, 90 days, you start to see it kind of come through. So it's thinking, hey, it's like on just a great analogy with the tanker in the ocean, right? You can't just rack the rudder like a speedboat. You have to turn the dial. It takes some time. It's the same with trading. Habits have to pick up. And something to add here is you're not going to be straight away disciplined and going with all the habits that you want to do. You'll make mistakes. You'll slip up. But the idea is just to get incrementally better to improve yourself into that trader. It's not going to instant. Can't go, right, this weekend, I've thought about my habits. I've thought about this. I listened to what Mark said, and I'm going to do it. Yeah, that's great, but it's going to take time to cultivate. So don't kind of just give up when you don't end up slipping and not doing the things you say you're going to do. It's okay. Just do more. Just improve it. And the way that I like to think about things is every time you have an urge to break and deviate from the path that you know is going to get you where you want to be, you just go, no, I'm sticking to the rules. I'm sticking to doing this checklist. I'm not trading until I've done my checklist, my pre-market prep check. I'm not trading. I'm not doing this. I'm making sure the stuff you do and the stuff that you have that impulse to go, I don't need to do this. I'll just take a little bit more size on this trade. I'll move the stop, or I'll just trade this instrument I'm not really supposed to be trading. I'll just trade a trigger that's not really a trigger. I'll just kind of allow that market. Those stuff is the test. And that's what separates you from everybody else who's falling by the wayside and struggling, and the people who are moving forward. Because every time you have a test and you pass the test, confidence in the bank, confidence in the bank, confidence in the bank. And unlike the current interest rates that you get in a traditional bank, you actually get pretty decent interests from your confidence in your bank, because actually that grows and grows and grows and builds and builds and builds, and you end up with a decent foundation. So every time you make that decision, act in alignment, you make a deposit in the confidence bank. You can see how this is disconnected from your P&L. Of course, P&L matters. I really don't want to say, oh, it doesn't matter P&L. Of course it matters. That's ultimately how we measure ourselves. But to just disconnect it for a moment. If you're someone who's spinning the wheels, especially, and someone who's like, oh, spinning, just disconnect it and identify with someone who's acting in alignment with the trader they want to be. Then you do that for enough time, the P&L will catch up. You have that lag, it will catch up. Look around and you go, all right, good, it's caught up. So, say on the bottom part here, most weaker traders do fail here and or fall, so say, because they don't see the results and they go, why is my P&L working? And just trust in the process. So you're process focused. My confidence and my ability as a trader is my identity of my actions, because I know that if I do these actions, that is going to serve me. If I constantly break rules, just like the beginning slide, we said, hey, if you made 700 grand, but you got lucky and you blew up, you'd feel awful. You'd be like, well, nervous about going into the next year. You'd be like, damn it, this could be the year I blow up. But if you make it and you're confident and you've structured and you've got the right habits, that's going to be so much more of a powerful position to be in. You can weather drawdown. You can push some size in when you see the right trade setting up at the right time. You can do all those things that you can't do without confidence. Or if you do, you kind of, nervous, you're taking it off, you see that unrealized P&L, you take it off quickly, or you try to increase your size, you do it for a bit, you have a little losing streak, you get scared, or you blow up. That confidence is just the underlying thing that just underpins everything that's of value. So the fifth and final step is the 5Rs. It's not intentionally for fivers, but it's 5Rs, right? This is a process that I like to do because it's not going to be plain sailing, right? I don't know why I'm doing all these nautical analogies. I don't even sail. I'm not a captain or anything. I don't know why I've got these nautical analogies. So anyway, you kind of want to go, right, this is a never-ending process for me, and commit to that. Say to yourself, hey, it's a never-ending process. When things aren't going my way, let me speak to you. When things aren't going your way and you're wavering from your plan and your program, you activate these 5Rs. The first one is to reset. Now I will say almost with certainty that everybody here is too hard on themselves. And that's okay, because we need to be driven. We're all ambitious. We all want to push forward. Whatever level you're at now, we all want the next level, the next station. We want to move on. I get that. But sometimes we have to be a little bit relaxed about things. And I know this is not generally how we're going to operate, and it not got us where you are now by being, oh, it's okay and everything. But in this instance, just look yourself in the mirror and you make a mistake, you fall off, you do something wrong, you break a rule, you kind of do something you shouldn't do. Most people just throw the whole thing under the bus and go, you know what? Yeah, I can't do this. I'm going back, and they fall off. When something like this happens and you do make an error, you make a mistake, you look yourself in the mirror and literally do this and say, you know what? It happens. I'm trying to get to where I'm going to be. It's never going to be a straight line. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm human. Forgive yourself. Now, those who know me know that that's, I'm not saying you always go around going, forgive yourself for all these mistakes and you're beautiful and all this kind of stuff. No. Still be hard and tough on yourself, but start off on this foot. Kind of wipe the slate clean and go, because what it does is, you know the score, right? You've done something, you've broken a rule, you're disgusted with yourself. You're like, I've broken this rule, I've done this, I've done that. Look at my P&L now. I nearly got to this funded state, so I nearly got to a payout, and now I've broken the rule, I'm back to where I want. I'm just so frustrated, and you can feel it hurts, right? And the trouble is, if you don't release that just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and it's just a bad place to be. So you've got to just go, right, forget about it. let's just forgive myself, move on. What's next? Refocus. So the second part of this is to just refocus, get that vision back in your mind because you've lost it. That's gone. It's dull. It's faded because you're so focused on there and you kind of, you know what it's like. You're breaking a rule. You're like, oh, this market goes up. I will never break a rule again. And all this stuff that you kind of go through in your mind and you talk about and you're like, okay, just forgive yourself, refocus, get that vision back in, make it bright, see it there, see that future trader that we talked about, have him there, have him there, have him there, her, bang, bang, straight in there. It just resets your mind, refocuses your mind on where you're headed. And then recalibrate. And recalibrate to me is checking over your process, your actions. Can you simplify things? Have you got too many rules? Common mistake traders make rules, all these rules. Like, how the heck are you ever going to stick to them when you've got to do this and this and this and this and this and this? Same with strategies, right? Excuse me. Same with strategies. You know, you're pulling the trigger and you've got all these trigger rules and that's got to line up and this indicator's got to be here and that's got to be above this bar and that's got to do that and that's got to have a wick after this and we've got to be an uptrend on the daily. We've got the linear regression's got to be here. Stochastics. I'm over exaggerating, but you get the idea. Can you simplify stuff that makes it easier for you to stick to the rules that you've set for yourself and your habits? How do you need to change? And it's that recalibration process of going, okay, well, what caused me to break my rules this time? What caused me to dive into the trade? What caused me to have that FOMO? What caused me to take that substandard deal that I know I shouldn't because the market's choppy and sloppy? What is it? And then reverse engineer it a little bit and go, okay, maybe I just need to be mindful because I'm making this mistake regularly. You know, maybe you're trading at the open if you're trading kind of an index, or you're trading a stock, or, you know, even you're trading a currency pair, right? And you see that sort of spike after. Maybe you're trading at a time you don't want to trade. So how do you kind of alleviate that? Do you make sure you're not on the screen to be tempted? What sort of tricks and hacks can you do to make you stick to the rules that you've set for yourself? Simplify, recalibrate. Okay, the fourth thing is to re-engage. And this is when you get back on it. You've reset yourself, you're recalibrated, you're like, right, focus on the process. Focus on the process. If I stick to the process and the plan, the market can't harm you. If you deviate from the process and you break the risk rules, the market can, of course, it can harm you. You can end up blowing up, all this kind of stuff. So you stick into the process. What's your process? Again, you visualize that trader, go back, you've simplified your plan. Now you're like, right, what's the plan? It's a simpler plan, it's more refined. What is the process? The process is I come in, I do this pre-market prep, I check this, I check that, I look for this, I scan, I screen, I set my alerts, whatever it may be, stick to the process. And the fifth and final thing is just to repeat. You're going to fall off. In other words, you're going to not be perfect. You're going to be imperfect. It's probably better terminology, right? You're going to be imperfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to slip up. You're going to miss something. You're not going to be a perfect 100% week. You're going to have mistakes. So you just constantly do this. You do the 5 R's. You refocus, you simplify, you get back on. And you repeat the process, you iterate, you improve. This is where most people fall by the wayside, right? They do all the good stuff, they get going, and the first sign of a mistake, they go, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. And they throw everything away. Good example, right? You've been on a diet. Let's say you want to lose some body fat. You know, okay, I need to just be careful of my carbs and my sugar and all this type of stuff. And you go into the fridge and you eat a piece of cake, right? Or you eat a piece of chocolate. You go, oh, well, I've eaten a piece of chocolate. I'll eat the whole thing. Before you know, you've eaten the whole bar of chocolate or the whole cake. Because you think, well, why not? I broke the rules. That's the separator, right? Between someone who goes, okay, I slipped up. I broke my rule once. That's fine. It's not going to be an issue, but it's catching it. And the same with trading. Breaking one rule once, probably not going to be an issue. Missing something you're supposed to do, not going to be an issue. But just remind, just don't let it become a habit. And again, don't beat yourself up about it and throw the whole thing and say, well, I've broken one rule. I may as well try any phase I want, any strategy I want. I may as well just do stuff just to try and get it. But, you know, that's just a mistake. It's still saying focus. And that's the test. The test is that if you do fail and you slip up, get yourself back on. Try not to. Try and get it better. Try and go trade in alignment with the future trader, future self you've got reminded in your brain and all that type of stuff. But it's okay if you have a process, again, for what happens if you do slip up. Get back on, iterate, improve, simplify. So final thing I want to say to you guys is this, is just keep moving forward. It's easy to fall back into old ways. It's easy to fall back into the default trader that you've always been and got the same results you're always going to get. Now, listen, if you're watching this and you're getting absolutely fantastic results, maybe this will improve your results. But if you're watching this and you're not really where you want to be as a trader, You feel like you've got the knowledge. You feel like you know a lot about trading. You've got some experience, but you're just sitting there. Zoom, 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 zoom. The wheels are just spinning. This might be the thing that just gives you that traction. Just keep moving forward. Don't fall back into the old ways. State to yourself now, I'm going to become that trader that I know is the trader who can take me to the goal that I've set or the goals that I've set. If you make that commitment, then you can only keep moving forward. And the P&L doesn't matter. As long as your risk, again, why does the P&L matter? If your risk is so low and it's structured in a way that you're not going to blow up, not going to do some damage, then it's okay. You don't have to look at the P&L. You don't have to worry about the P&L. It's like, yeah, that'll take care of itself. The focus on the process. And remember that falling back into old ways and having that test, that emotional kind of decision, you've got impulse decision during the trading day is the separator. It is the test. So the summary for you. Be crystal clear in your vision. What does that person look like in your vision? Construct a plan that encompasses all the actions of that trader. So we start to write stuff down. Then, tough part, acting in congruence with the way your future trader would be. And then the fifth one is lean on those 5 R's of reset, refocus, recalibrate, reengage, and repeat. And that is when you just kind of improve, make mistakes, get back on, improve. So it's a never-ending process of constant improvement in your trading. And if you can do that, then just think what sort of trader you'll be in 30 days, 90 days, 120 days, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. If you don't do that and you're spinning your wheels and you're going round and round and round, you might be in the same position. So it's something to consider. All right, I hope there's been some value to you guys. If you'd like to ask questions, I will look in the chat. Oh, there's a few in the chat. Let me have a look. We've got some time for questions. Okay.
Yeah, you want me to go over some of the questions, Mark?
Yeah, go on, Sol. If you found something that's really...
Rafael asked it before. Do you think wanting to open your own fund in 5 years is clear enough of a vision?
I think that's good. I think you can be more specific. What sort of fund? How much do you want to be managing? Do you just want to start the ball rolling at that point in time? Be specific about it so that when you have that in your mind, you can imagine yourself. And where are you operating from as well? Are you operating from a fancy office? Have you got a team? Are you yourself? Is it a small fund? Are you building? How are you just going to be specific about that? Because those specific parameters and variables matter because your brain goes, oh, this feels real. Like, I can smell that new carpet in the office. That view's amazing over the city, whatever it may be, right? And I'm kind of speculating here, but I think that's a good start. But if you can go deeper on that, then I think great.
Correct. Then Patrick asks how to draw the line between a dream and a vision.
How to draw the line between a dream and a vision. I think a dream is something that every human being has, right? Everyone has a dream of, I want to get rich, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do the other, whatever it may be. I think that, if we're defining a vision as kind of the goal, that's when you reverse engineer and saying, how the hell do I get there? Yes, I want. And this applies all areas in life, right? Not just trading. How do you want a good relationship? How do you want a good body? All this type of stuff. And it's, well, you reverse engineer back and go, hey, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. It's going to take time. But if I know that if I just keep chugging and keep moving forward, that's more of a vision than a dream. It's the pathway to get to that dream, if you like, I think is the vision.
Correct. Then we have, what do you trade and what times during the day you trade?
I like to trade YM. I like to trade NQ. During the trading day, I like the open sometimes. Sometimes the open can be a bit cruel to you. It can be a bit cruel. But I also like to look for kind of on the daily chart, reverse engineer, go back and see if I can preempt a 1 to 3 day move potentially sometimes on that type of thing. If there's a stock in play, I'll go to that. I don't trade FX that much, but those are kind of generally my go-to type of things. Anything there's a supply demand imbalance, I kind of gravitate towards that. And if I can express the idea with a reasonable amount of risk, then, I don't really mind.
Right. And there's a lot of, compliments for you, of course. And then what was the last R in the 5 R's? So maybe you can bring
them back up for you guys.
Of course, if there's more questions, guys, just this is the time to ask those.
Last R was repeat. And so that what a repeat means is that you don't give up when something doesn't work. You go back to the start and you go, okay, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to repeat the process. I'm just going to iterate and improve. I'm going to simplify the things that I need to simplify. Does my strategy need simplifying? Do I need to die? Maybe you need to go up the time frame a little bit. What is it that's causing you to break your rules? You know, a lot of guys are trading on 1 minute. That's fine. But if that 1 minute is causing you to get sucked into little spikes and stuff, then maybe go up to a 3 or a 5. And you don't have to stay there forever. You're not tattooing on your skull the type of trader you are. You can change. So, you know, it's just that. It's improving and iterating and being objective. And one thing I want to mention, Sol, sorry, I know another question there. There's something I only recently came across called the Stockdale paradox. I think that's right. And the Stockdale paradox is this. And this was a guy who was a POW, I believe it was in Vietnam. Someone can fact check me on this. But he basically said this. 2 things. One, you've got to be absolutely honest about the current situation you're in. But number 2, you also have to have belief that it's going to get better and you're going to get to where you want to go. So you have to have both. You can't just go, oh, I'm going to be a great trader and everything's great, without honesty of, hey, I'm messing up here. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I think that's great. It's having that, not being negative, but being realistic about where you are, but at the same time knowing that you're headed to somewhere fresh.
Amazing. Now it's my question. If you mind sharing, Mark, what was your vision 10 years ago? What was your mission, your vision for you as a trader?
Do you know, I'll give you further back than that. My vision when I started trading was just to be able to trade, make enough money to have food and fuel for my motorbike. That was my vision, right? And it was, and honestly, it's a good question, because if I could go back, I'd have said, think bigger. And it was only until I started making money and doing well, then my vision started to get bigger. It started to get larger, and I started to realize what was possible. But when you're 21, all you want is like to be doing something you love, making some money, and be able to ride around. And, that was what my vision was. So that's a really good question. So I would say my vision was nowhere near big enough. Think big. By all means, then go back and go, well, actually, yes, I'd like to be a hedge fund manager managing £100 million account, £20 million account, whatever it may be. But go back and go, well, first step is just to make my first 50 grand, just to make that. I think that's the better way of doing it.
Correct. Now, Matt, my Vice asked here, based on more than 20 years of experience, what would be a realistic target to be on a monthly basis? Percentage-ish. I heard the number 20% quite often. What's your opinion about such a figure? Like realistic percentage return on a monthly basis?
Do you know what? I think obviously this is very subjective, right? Because the more risk you're taking, the more potential reward you've got, but the more chance you've got to blow up. And don't forget that, however strong your edge is, if you're leveraging yourself up way too much, just by the statistics and the numbers, you've got to be careful you don't blow up. So you can say, yeah, I want to hit 20% a month. And that's aggressive, right? That's aggressive. And maybe you need to do that because to make it worthwhile, you have to swing for the fences a little bit and kind of really move. But at the end of the day, I think that mistake, maybe it's not a mistake, but for me, capital is a tool. Right? We're not trading to make a percentage return. We're not money managers. It's a tool that we're using and we're leveraging up as we want to. And so thinking about capital as a tool and saying, right, how much prepared to risk of this? What's the maximum drawdown? And thinking of it like that, I think is a little bit better. And then you can just reverse engineer from that. I know that some guys, I know a guy who's got a £2 million trading account and he looks to double it every year. He says, if I can do 100% a year, then that's really good because I'm working hard, I'm putting effort in, I'm day trading the S&P 500 and I want to be rewarded for that. And $2 million for that seems legitimate for him. If you're trading a smaller account, you might go, hey, you know what? I need to be aggressive to make it work for me.
Right. And there was another question. Will you be at the Traders Day Live event in London?
I will.
So if I might take a minute here and I will share just 1 minute about the event. Yeah, Mark will be there. Will be one of the featured speakers there. So for everyone wanted to meet Mark in person, so he'll be there, together with many other speakers, high tier speakers in the industry. So yeah, go to Traders Day Live, guys. If you haven't got your ticket, make sure you do. Mark will be speaking about, if I recall right, strategy development and price action day trading strategies. And I just noticed he's at the same time as myself. So I'll make sure I move myself to another hour because everyone would be going to Mark's presentation and all the rest will be empty. So I'll move my hour.
Do you know, I've just noticed, Sol, that you've got Steve Ward there. Steve Ward is a top guy to listen to. He will drop some absolute knowledge bombs. You know, if you like your psychology, you like your discipline, you like your mindset, Steve Ward is the man. We've had him as a guest a couple of times, and he is just super knowledgeable. So yeah, looking forward to. I'm not on the same time as him, am I? Because I want to watch him.
No, he's in the afternoon, so he'll be speaking to by himself. Yeah, of course, he coaches institutional traders. Yeah. But even Mark, yourself, and Simon. Simon is not very known out there because he is an institutional trader, and he manages 8-figure funds. And of course, Martin, he's an algo trader, and Charlie Burton, and very big names here. So very exciting for the event. So let's see if there's any other question out there. Let me check the chat. To join the event, expecting nothing else. Thank you. I'm trying to calibrate my ambitions. It was very nice input, Mark. So I think that's it, Mark. I really appreciate you, coming into the webinar and delivering the content. It's very, very, very valuable. I so relate to many things you talked about. And yeah, we'll be in contact, Mark, and we'll edit this, and someday next week we'll go to the channel. So
thank you,
guys,
everyone who's turned up. I know you've got other things that you can potentially be doing, so I appreciate your time. I hope I've added some value to you, and maybe we're back again.
Yeah,
thank you, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and thank you for the traders for coming, for staying, for the questions, and Mark, thanks again, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Good trading. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.